Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
The Heart of Health. Talking Heads is a USA Global TV and Radio Network program. It is also found on Amazon Fire, Zizzle, E360 TV, Roku, and of course on YouTube. There's a couple of different channels there for the USA Global TV and Radio Network. So let's go ahead and get my slides lined up, and let's go ahead and see if we can finish up this show for today. And I think I have a nice one for next week because we're getting close to 2025, and it's, I think, a point in time where we really need to get started in that. So as a disclaimer, I'm a researcher. I have never been in the medical field or the pharmaceutical field. All of that I'm doing is because I really have a passion for chemistry and how do things work, particularly in the body, human body. So I research the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking. I look for cause and effect relationships. Treat a cause, fix a problem. Treat a symptom, and you'll always be treating symptoms. But the bad thing about treating symptoms is that the cause is still there, and it can be getting worse, and you'll never know. And sometimes treating symptoms, you may, let's say, have a high blood pressure, for instance. Well, the medicine you're on now, over time, is not as effective down the road. So you may have a very good medicine now, it's working fine. 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that medicine may or may not be the same level of efficacy. So there's things in there. So anyway, when you're hiding something, damage can occur. This presentation, like all of my presentations, is for awareness and education. Given that being so, most everything I'm talking about today on heart health, the heart of health also, is found in my book, Longevity Secrets for Healthy Aging. I really concentrate on longevity in this book, but I have a different section in there on heart health, and I think a lot of the stuff we're talking about is found there. That being the case, okay. Last week we ended up with peripheral artery disease, talked a little bit about that. So we're continuing on the causes and potential options of heart disease. Coming on down, the main topics that we had done in the past. Cholesterol, hypertension, that was interesting. That just kind of bumped back. We had that problem last week. Glycation end products, etc. We talked about those. I'm going to try to finish these up today and do a lead in for next week. So that being the case, let's take a look at the first one. Toxins. They're everywhere. Well, maybe not so much over in Europe because there's over 1,000 toxins that's not allowed to be put into foods or personal care products over in Europe that the FDA allows here in the United States. Why? Because there's no definitive testing that says this is a toxic substance that can cause cancer or some other health issue. But they also say it's within so small it's not going to have an effect. Well, you don't know. But most of our toxins that we have in our bodies or we take in comes from what we breathe, stuff we put on our bodies, or stuff we eat. So somehow it's getting into the body through the skin, through our digestive system, or we're just breathing it into our lungs. So if you're in an area that's got a lot of visual smoke and haze and whatever, yeah, there's probably particulate matter in the air that's causing a problem, toxins, that could interfere with our total health, but more or less our heart health, because we're breathing something in, that oxygen gets exchanged right there in the heart. Boom, you're don't get much closer than that. The foods we eat gets digested and then sent to the blood vessels and goes everywhere. The heart's force pumping blood. And then we had the personal care stuff that we put in our skin, be shampoo, lotion, toothpaste, doesn't matter. You put it on your skin, more than likely there are enough toxins in there that over time, it's not something that's going to happen next week, but over time, we're talking years, can become a problem. I am one of those fastidious shoppers. I will pick up and read everything that's in the product that I'm looking at. And if there's more than 10 or 12 items there, and particularly if there's 2 or 3 that I really know I don't want, like ice cream. I love ice cream. But I'm really careful. I don't want ice cream that has carrageenan in it. But carrageenan is one of those ones that just makes that, it just tastes so luscious and just velvety smooth. It's the taste, it's the texture, but it's also a known carcinogen. So I try to avoid those as best I can. Can't always do it, but I do my best. But biggest problem that we have with toxins is that it causes our body to react. We have something in there that's not normal, not natural. Our body's going to respond to it. And this can be in the form of inflammation, because these things can act as free radicals. They go down to the cellular level of the body and they create a problem. And if it's not corrected at that cellular level, it leads to what's called oxidative stress. In other words, I could have a piece of iron sitting outside, brand new. A year from now, it might be rusted. Well, that rust is the oxidative stress. And inflammation, if it's called, which it really is, inflammation, chronic low-level cellular inflammation, is generally 99% of the time the cause, the genesis of disease. Where is it at in the body? It can be anywhere. So, but here we're looking at heart disease. So if I have a heart problem, let's say I had a heart attack, let's say I have a AFib, or I have some other high blood pressure. If it weakens my heart, can I ever get that strength back again? That's a question that I get asked occasionally when doing presentations. And the thing is, the things that you weren't doing that caused the problem, and I'm blaming most of these on lifestyle choices, but yes, there is some genetics. There are other issues that happen to us that we have no control over. But generally speaking, the things that we have control over, we can, in fact, improve our situation. Certainly not make it any worse. So diet, exercise, blood pressure, medications, chronic low-level cellular stress. These things, depending on how they're being manifested, can lead to cardiovascular disease. A lot of new medicines are available. And again, take for instance, I was on a medicine here recently, and the side effect was it just skyrocketed my blood pressure. And I didn't know what it was at the time. They told me to double my blood pressure medicine. I did. It really didn't have an effect. It minor. And when I started doing my own research, I couldn't find it exactly. As kind of, yeah, maybe. So I talked to my pharmacist, and he didn't just take yeah, absolutely it does. And so then, okay, that particular one, you had to wean yourself off. So it took me about a week, 10 days to fully get off of it, to get it out of my system. But because I'm taking a medicine for one thing, in this particular case was for pain management, the side effect was increased blood pressure. So we got to be really careful with the medicines. Most people don't read all the little contraindications on the little pieces of paper that are in our meds, but that's another one that I read through all the time. But you have a heart attack, generally speaking, there are a lot of options that can bring you back into a normal, full, functional life. You may not be running marathons, but you can certainly function as a human and enjoy life. Stress. So many of us reach out there, grab a hold of that stress, and we don't let go, whatever it may happen to be. Mother-in-law, boss, co-worker, news. Right now with the elections going on, there are people who will absolutely say, no way in hell for this candidate or no way in hell for that candidate. It doesn't matter. We're getting ourselves stressed. But stress comes from not only our relationships, it can come from the toxins we just talked about. That's a major stress at the cellular level in the body. Our diet, our finances. So many things are there. So if I wanted to deal with relationships, maybe one of the things I need to do is change my expectations. Uh, if I can zero out, in other words, absolutely have no expectation of something, it's going to make my life a little easier. It's going to reduce my stress. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do to manage our stress. We can look at our diet. We can minimize toxins. Finances may not be as easy to do, but there are generally some things that can be done. But I tell people, in 1987, I was so busy with everything else in my life, I really didn't watch much TV at all. And one of the things I was seeing, because that was the same time that I was able to dial in things going on overseas, and I'm looking at, why aren't they talking about that here in the United States? And then about 2 or 3 days later, they may or may not, or they would give me partial information. And I'm thinking to myself, there's something wrong with the TV news. So I gave it up. I literally do not, unless I'm in an airport and I'm stuck somewhere and I don't have a choice, I try to avoid the mainstream media news. It's just, I can look at headlines on the internet and pretty much figure out, do I really want to know more than that? But stress affects people differently. Some people, they can't get rid of it. Other people, it rolls off just right on by. But that stress, as it affects our heart, can increase inflammation. And when that inflammation occurs, now we're starting to see more plaque buildup inside our blood vessels, our heart valves, our arteries, and that's the atherosclerosis and everything else. That stress also creates a fight or flight hormone. And that hormone, I'll have to think about it just when my brain is blank. But anyway, that stress hormone, cortisol, if we get too much of it and it stays in our body for a super long time, it can create a lot of problems. And so we need to be careful. That's something that we can manage away, but many times we don't even know we're holding on to it. Exercise, and we all hear about this. We need to do more exercise. And me, along with everyone else, just for whatever reason, we don't. It's not a comfort area. We don't have the time. The weather's not right. We can come up with a myriad of reasons why we don't. But the heart is a combination of muscles. And just like exercise improves muscle tone, muscle function, those are things that are exercise. Going up a flight of stairs, 2 flights, 3 flights, we're huffing and puffing sometimes. Well, that's our heart is responding to that extra level of work you put into it. But you notice that if you're doing this all the time, okay, I can go up those stairs and I'm not huffing and puffing for a minute and a half afterwards. Maybe I'm down to 15, 20 seconds. I'll talk a little bit about recovery rate here with the heart and exercise a little bit later on. But when I have exercise, one of the several improvements happen. Number one, my blood pressure is generally less. I've known that from military physicals, flight physicals that I had. I could easily control my blood pressure with exercise. It improves lung function. You get better oxygen exchange, more flow in the body with regard to getting things where they need to go. That heart is pumping out in the maximum capacity that it can within a normal heartbeat. Weight management, stress management, exercise is great for both of those. What kind of other exercises are out there that are good? Well, they say aerobic and resistance training are 2 very good ones for heart health. I came across one that says stretching. I said, stretching? How does stretching help my heart? Well, they had it as 3 things that are good for your heart, 3 exercises. But they said stretching really is the combination of getting the surrounding muscles in agreement with each other so that I'm able to maximize the breathing in order to get the heart health the way I need. So that one I'm not so much sure of, but any kind of weight training, any kind of aerobic. Now aerobic can be simply, let's just go out and walk for a while, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But there's generally what they call a target heart rate. In other words, I'm here, I take my blood pressure in the morning, maybe my heart rate, I think this morning's 51. I go through the day, I take another blood pressure reading, maybe it's now 71. But I have a target heart range, and for most people, it's between 60 and 100. But sometimes it can be too much or too little, and if it's too much or too little, there may be a problem. So if I'm constantly over 100, should talk to the doctor. If I'm down in that 40, 50 range all the time, there may be a very good reason for it. But again, it's not the normal range to be in. So maybe you do need to talk to somebody. But that's my resting heart rate. I wake up, I work throughout the day, I do whatever. I'm sitting in front of the computer, I'm driving, take your blood, your pulse, boom, okay. It should be between 60 and 100. If it's a little above, a little below, probably not a problem. But the temperature outside, inside, medications, your emotions, alcohol, smoking, caffeine, even the position of your body, the time of the day, your fitness level, all those things have an effect on your heart rate. And when I exercise, my resting heart rate goes from here up to here, and then it gradually comes back down. So as my fitness improves, the faster that level comes back down. It's called a recovery heart rate. So that recovery heart rate, let's say that, okay, when I was doing a lot of exercise, one of the things I love to do, seriously, run 100-yard dashes. So I would go out and I would run a 100-yard dash in whatever amount of time that was. I have an area marked off, and I would start out, okay, I would run this one starting out, number one, I'd do about 10 or 12. First one is about 60%. Then I try to get maybe a second faster, a second faster, a second faster. And so by the time I got to number 10, 11, or 12, I was absolute at going as fast as I possibly could the whole 100 yards. And so I would have either a chest monitor or a heart monitor, or I'd have my watch and I could get my pulse rate. So for me, most of the time, if I could get my pulse up to 150 or above, a pretty successful day. I like that a lot. That's normally my running rate when I'm out running. But how fast does it take to get back to a resting heart rate or to a recovery heart rate? For me, I list at 120 beats per minute. So in mine, I'm sitting there and looking at my watch, doing my test. Okay, there's 1 minute. Let's take another pulse reading. Okay, so I go from 150 to 120. That's 30 beats per minute. That's an exceptionally good recovery rate. So maybe it takes me 2 minutes to get back down to 120. But there is a heart rate that we want to look at. How many beats per minute can I get from my maximum in my exercise back down to my resting heart rate? It may not be resting, you're stopped for 2 or 3 minutes before you start doing something else. But that is a super good measure of your heart health. So let's say you go out and you're not a walker, and you go out and you walk a quarter mile, half a mile. As you're walking, take your blood pressure, take your pulse rate. Pretty simple to do. Just start counting your beep, 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 and stop for a minute, sit down, and then take it again at 1 minute, 2 minutes. How much did your heart rate lower from that exercise you're doing? It may not be 5 or 10. That's fine. They usually say somewhere around 18 is you're starting to get in that good range. So to me, your resting heart rate, your recovery rate, is a super good indicator of how much your fitness level is, but how much your heart health is. And so it's how well do you accommodate to exercise? And it could be literally any kind of exercise. But the things that really and truly affect our heart and everything else that we're doing is the lifestyle choices we have. And this is the area that I want to go into next week and a few weeks after that, because we're coming up on 2025 here in the not too distant future. We're almost the last quarter of 2024. And we have options that we can look at. So how can I change my lifestyle, change my choices, where I have a, let's say, better than average chance, better than a 50-50 chance of actually being able to maintain some level of improved lifestyle next year. Now we're talking about the standard thing. We just got finished talking about exercise. Diet, well, we eat every day, most of us, but are we eating out? Is there something I can do if I'm eating at a restaurant every day to make my choices healthier? We're going to talk about that. Fasting. Fasting is something that I really and truly enjoy doing. I generally do a 72-hour fast every month, and there's reasons for it. When you get past about 18 to 20 hours, there's a function that goes on in the body called autophagy. Autophagy is where your cells get a chance to throw away all the trash in the cell have anything in there that needs to be recycled. It's basically a major trash and recycling part of the body. In 72 hours, autophagy is about 100%. At 18 hours, it just starts out. So it starts out at 1%, and then 2%, 3%, and goes on. So it takes a little while in that fasting time frame to get to 100%, but it allows your body to recapture everything. They say that essentially in 72 hours, you can reset your immune system. In 120 hours, a 5-day fast, a lot goes on in your pancreas with regard to alpha cells and beta cells. And a lot of people are seeing a lot of success with type 2 diabetes and an extended fast. And there are other things called FMD. There are ways to eat food and fool your body into thinking that you're not eating food. It's a fasting mimicking diet, FMD. And so you're not fasting, but your body thinks you are. And we'll probably talk about that here in the next couple of weeks. The number of calories you eat and when you eat them is important. If you're only eating them one time a day, that's far better than spreading those calories out over 3 meals a day. The kinds of fats you're eating, there's so many things with fats that we're going to spend some time and get into all of those. The carbs you choose, again, high glycemic index and other things. Our weight, obesity, stress, alcohol, smoking, the quality of our sleep, so many things out there that we will be talking about in the next 3 weeks, trying to be able to make some changes in our bodies that will be lasting, that will be good for us. And sometimes I can't do that because it's not good for it. Let's see here, do I put that one down? Yes, I did. Okay, so let's just go ahead, back up one. When I'm looking at some of the myths that are out there, sometimes, I don't want to have so much of that, but if I'm in moderation, maybe that's better than overdoing it. If I'm looking at supplements, maybe I want to have the real fruits and vegetables that I need. One thing in particular, when coconut oil really hit the scene back in the mid to late 80s, it's saturated fat. The health industry went crazy. It's a saturated fat. But if you look at heart disease in 2 major places in the world, India and Nigeria uses what they call red palm oil more than the coconut oil. There were literally we're talking extremely few, count on one hand type of few, heart attacks and disease. You start getting into the American diet with a lot of plant oils, your sunflower oil, your safflower, your corn oil. A lot of those are highly inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids. And so you start having a problem. But people were confusing plant saturated fat with animal saturated fat. And there isn't a comparison because the saturated fat from plants, coconut oil in particular, is extremely healthy. Yeah, they're saturated fat, but it doesn't act the same way in the heart and the rest of the body. But if you have too many omega-6 oils, fatty acids from the vegetable oils that we do versus the omega-3 fatty acids from fish and other places, then we have a problem. It's the ratio of that omega-6 to omega-3. It should be less than 4-to-1. Standard American diet is probably in 30-to-1 or greater. But if you can get it down to 1-to-1 or between 1-to-1 and 4-to-1, probably have pretty good health. Cholesterol, it's a big issue with saturated fat. It comes from 2 sources, the food we eat or our body, what we make. So if I'm having a lot of coming from my food, my body makes less. If I don't have it from my food, my body makes more. It's just kind of the way things work. So red meat, not all meat's the same. It depends on how it's cooked, how it's prepared, lots of things with regard to meat. And the big thing that vegans have is the fact that B12, if they're going to get it from their foods, the foods have to be modified, fortified in order to get that. And if I'm buying it from a supplement, generally speaking, it's going to be what they call cyanocobalamin. That cyano is not what I need. I need the methylcobalamin in order to be really healthy in my body. And with that, like I say, I'm going to be talking about our lifestyle choices and what we can do to start making things better for us in 2025. And with that, again, wrapping things up, my longevity secrets for healthy aging. You can find a lot of the information we're talking about here, red.olaughlin.com. That's REDOLAUGH.com. LAUGHLIN, red.olaughlin.com, red.olaughlin at Gmail, and red@red.olaughlin, both ways to reach me. And I have some other books out there you can find on my website or on Amazon. So with that, I'm going to conclude today's presentation and catch you all next week. We'll start preparing ourselves for 2025. Take care, y'all. Bye now.
Hello, I'm children's author Diane Floyd Bain, and I am co-host for several of the USA Global TV and radio shows. I joined because of the purpose of the USA Global TV and radio. They provide content for the viewers and listeners, an opportunity for people around the world to have their own show or even be a guest on an existing show. We truly believe in helping others get their positive message out to the world. We also have the opportunity for the listeners. You can watch on several platforms, and on YouTube, you can ask questions and even give a comment. We absolutely love it. I love being part of the USA Global TV and radio because I love positive messages, and who doesn't? And we need more of that in the world. We are a family, and we hope you will join us and become part of the family too.
Meet Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, President, Founder, and Chief Listening Officer of USA Global TV and Radio. She is a certified life, career, and executive coach. Dr. Jacqueline is the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Behind the Green Screen and Adversity to Awesome. As the listening mentor, she teaches children and their families how to listen at an elevated level through the book series titled The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor. The Creative Hearts Awakening book series features heart-centric creatives who share their awakening journey. Through the Power of Listening educational course platform, people can get certified as elevated listeners on USA Global TV and Radio. Learn how to center yourself and align with nature through the power of nature, plants, and shrines. The Journey of Chakra Psychology course will educate you on the chakras and their meaning. The Intuition of the Heart course will help you understand how to trust your intuition. Learn how to face the shadows of self and understand the impact of following trends and materialism. Set boundaries and ask for permission to help establish better relationships, deeper connections, and more authentic conversations. Take your communication expertise to a higher level with the course for curious humans. After all, we are not robots. Looking to start your own podcast platform? Get everything you need in the Podcaster Pro package with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. How can music, breath, and your voice set you free? Find out with the Power of Listening courses. Dr. Jacqueline is a certified meditation teacher, yoga instructor, and Juice Plus distributor. She will help you create a plan for your healthy lifestyle. As an expert in the art of interviewing with over 3,000 hosted and/or produced live broadcasts, Dr. Kerbeck helps her clients stand out as global broadcasters. Dr. Kerbeck's books are available on Amazon. Start your listening journey by reading. Tune into the Listening Mentor TV show, Fridays on USA Global TV, and learn how listening can be your superpower. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, MBA, DBA, Certified Holistic Life, Career, and Executive Coach, Certified Yoga Sculpt Teacher, Certified Meditation Teacher, the Listening Mentor, Singer-Songwriter, Founder, President, Chief Listening Officer of USA Global TV and Radio. drjacqueline.com. Thank you to all our elevated listeners, team members, animal characters, and co-authors. Contact us at 215-852-9406. Jacqueline at drjacqueline.com.
Hi, my name is Dr. Felix Kravitz. I have taught seniors and understand the crucial importance of online safety education for this community. I have also taught and worked at various colleges, universities, and training facilities in the Chicago region. My goal is to educate seniors, helping them to feel safer while navigating the digital world. Call me today to learn more and get started. Together, we can enhance our seniors' understanding of safety concepts when using technology. Contact cybersecurityeasy.com LLC by visiting our website www.cybersecurityeasy.com. Call us at 847-845-9360 or email us at info@cybersecurityeasy.com.
My name is Dr. Felix Kravitz, and I am the founder of cybersecurityeasy.com, LLC. We live in a world full of vulnerabilities and cyber risks. We spend almost 4.5 hours a day on our mobile phones. It's over 7 hours of screen time daily when including computer use. We often forget that this convenience comes with risks. Published data predicts that the cost of cybercrime will exceed $10.5 trillion in 2025. These numbers encompass not only businesses, but also each one of us, including our children and our parents. In 2023, the FBI reported over $3.4 billion lost by seniors aged 60 and older. Cybersecurityeasy.com LLC's initiative is to massively support the community by providing cyber safety coaching and improving social engineering awareness. Our goal is to make social engineering concepts of cybersecurity easier to understand. We work with business teams, seniors, and educational institutions, both individually and in groups. We cover various topics from phone phishing attacks to AI-generated voice cloning, robocalls, password protection, and more using life examples. Talk to us today. Call us at 847-845-9360 or email us at info@cybersecurityeasy.com.
5 little known secrets for dementia caregivers with Tracy Cram-Perkins.
Hi there, I am Tracy Cram-Perkins, the host of the Dementia Home Care Show here on USA Global TV and Radio. I am also the author of the book of the same name. And you'll see this QR code. This is for an extended version of the same talk. So if you want to see the full hour-long version, feel free to scan the code and go to that website. Stick with me. We'll talk about 5 little known secrets to make it a little easier to do dementia caregiving. What you're seeing on the left-hand side is a healthy aged brain, age 55 and above. The one you're seeing on the right is an Alzheimer's disease brain. It is in moderate disease. It is shrinking. It has holes in it. The memories that were in those holes no longer exist. When you're learning something, let's say in kindergarten, you learn how to tie your shoelace. Well, then by the time you're in 2nd grade, your brain remembers that information from tying the shoelace and applies it so you can learn more quickly how to tie more complex knots. So the brain is hardwired to do this for us. So it helps us learn faster so it doesn't take us long to acquire knowledge. The brain is looking for the information and they pick the closest to wherever that hole is. Let's look at some tips that we can use to help do that.
These are 5 simple tools you can use as a dementia caregiver to help your loved one.
The whiteboard is a useful tool in recording the day's activities and the answers to repetitive questions. The calendar clock is a very useful tool to orient your loved one on the day, the date, and the time, and remind them of upcoming appointments. The communication cards are a great tool to bridge the gap when they can no longer tell you what's wrong. And then there's the pill minder for when your loved one is still able to take pills but needs prompting. The final tool I want to share with you is the memory book. It tells your loved one's story. It's a great tool for distraction, redirection, also as a conversation starter, and telling you where they are in their story so you know how to answer their questions. Music is probably the most powerful tool in your toolbox after laughter. Music is a way to maintain connection. It sticks with your brain longer than any other thing, including reading. When you're having an issue with somebody, you can play their favorite music if you move them to another room, something that makes them happy, or you can start singing songs together from their childhood. These are some of my favorite books for caregivers. My show airs on the third Tuesday of every month, and you can view past episodes on YouTube. Thank you, everyone.
This program has been brought to you in part by Tracy Cram Perkins. Connect with her and order her book at tracycramperkins.com. For more information about Alzheimer's disease, support resources, and how you can help, contact the Alzheimer's Association at 1-800-272-3900 or visit their website at www.alz.org. They offer 24/7 helpline support and a wealth of information to assist you and your loved ones.